Swedish defense firm Saab wants Canada to buy and build its fighter jets. The firm is pitching a partnership with Bombardier and promising to create up to 10,000 jobs along with it. This comes after Prime Minister Mark Carney ordered a review of Canada's F-35 contract with U.S. firm Lockheed Martin. In the face of U.S. President Donald Trump's trade war, Canada is pitting two giant defense firms against each other, Saab Gripens versus Lockheed Martin's F-35s. So will the promise of thousands of jobs here in Canada be enough for Saab to secure that deal? Micael Johansson is the president and CEO of Saab, and he joins me now. Mr. Johansson, welcome to the show. Thank you for being here today, sir.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
I don't know if most of your business trips involve bringing the King and Queen of Sweden along, but you've put quite a proposal on the table for Canada. Well, why should Canada move away from the F-35s and go with your Gripens?
Well, that's absolutely up to Canada. I mean, if Canada thinks it's important to have sovereign capabilities in the air domain, being able to have a design authority over a fighter aircraft system, of course, we are prepared to move technology to Canada and set up shop here with partnerships with industry. But it's up to Canada to decide whether you want to have more sovereign capability going forward. And I mean, it doesn't have to be either or. I mean, the Gripen fighter will be interoperable with the F-35 also.
The number of 10,000 jobs was put on the table publicly by Mélanie Joly, our industry minister. At least that was the first time I heard it this week. So this is if there is some sort of an arrangement to expand production capability for your aircraft here in Canada. Does the Canadian government need to buy the Gripen for the military for that deal to happen?
Well, of course, it's connected. If you do a huge technology transfer and knowledge transfer and you invest in Canadian industry and partnerships with them, of course, creating jobs is important, but it's connected to a business, of course, to us. But we also need a hub somewhere else in the world and in Sweden and Brazil to actually boost the capacity of the production of the fighters. So you have a fantastic industrial base. It makes sense to do it in Canada from my perspective. But of course, it's connected to a deal, and because it's a shortcut to creating sovereign capability, and that's worth quite a lot for a country, I would say.
Right. So does that mean the industrial benefits and maybe the industrial arrangement is possible without a larger Gripen purchase, or is it just not likely to happen unless there is it's a package deal?
But I mean, if Canada themselves wouldn't sort of go and fly another fighter and have a dual fleet, it doesn't make sense really to transfer all this technology to Canadian industry, because it's also an important sort of connection to the end user that actually is using the fighter to continuously develop a system like that. So I think it goes hand in hand, but it's a huge potential. It's not only production, it's also high-value jobs. It is design authority, software-defined systems. So it's a lot of things that come with, and an whole ecosystem of companies, of course, working with this system.
Okay, so in terms of what it would actually look like, sir, I know you have an assembly plant in Brazil. Is this more than simply the assembly component? Is there a manufacturing component to this, making the parts, making the components? Is it sort of like from start to finish? What exactly is on offer for Canada?
Well, that you can design the way you want it, of course, but final assembly and test and having the capability of actually getting a full-fledged fighter airplane out of a factory is an important part, but it could be piece part production as well. But it would be also a design and development center, because lots of the capabilities of these aircraft are connected to software today. So it's several components, and it would be a flight test center, of course, to be established, and an R&D center. So it's not only production.
Okay, so this would be more robust, for example, than, say, the operation that Saab has in Brazil. Should it go ahead? Am I understanding that correctly, sir?
Yeah, I mean, it's similar, but I mean, you can go even further depending on the receiving industry and the capability of the industry. And my take on this is that Canada has excellent industries like sort of Bombardier and IMP and CIE for the training and simulation of the fighter system. So there is an excellent base to start with here, and we're prepared to do that if Canada selects to go dual fleet.
Okay, so help me understand how we get to the 10,000 jobs. I know I've heard that from the minister. If that is not the precise number, please let me know. But how much of that would be direct jobs versus indirect jobs, and over what kind of a timeline horizon once a deal could potentially be inked?
Well, we've said that to build up a capability to actually start manufacturing and having sort of deliveries from Canadian industry would sort of take between 3 and 5 years. We can start delivering aircrafts to Canada if they select dual fleet in 3 years' time, but the Canadian aircrafts will be sort of in 5 years' time, roughly, between 3 and 5 years, depending on the setup. And over that time, we will build up these jobs, and from 5 years and onwards, it will be direct job, of course, it will be indirect jobs, it will be supply chain, it will be lots of research and design and development, because this aircraft is upgradable continuously because of software. We have an architecture that is not block upgrades. We do it on a weekly basis. So the build-up will be over the maybe 3 to 5 years to the level of 9,000 to 10,000 jobs. So that's correct.
Okay, so help me understand this in relation to what you've done in Brazil, because I go back and I look at some reporting, and it is dated, but it's from the late, say, 2018, 2019 period, where it talks about your operations in Brazil could maybe create 14,000 jobs. But then I see later data from your company and other reporting that it's a few hundred jobs at the assembly plant. Did things not scale the way you were hoping in Brazil? Is the old information outdated? Walk me through what happened there, sir.
Well, to start with, I mean, the first aircraft that will come out of the Brazilian facility will be later this year. So we are at that point in Brazil, and then of course you must count all the supply chain jobs as well. I mean, all the suppliers that we have established. So it's a whole ecosystem of things. Depends on what you're looking at. It's plenty of jobs already, but it will ramp up from now and onwards when they actually start deliver the portion of the systems that they have contracted with us. So we are in an early stage. Now we have this aircraft in production as we speak, so the transfer will be easier to do with Canada than it was with Brazil, because then the aircraft was still in the development and the design phase, so we can do it a lot quicker in Canada.
Right, so you talk about the choice facing Canada to go to a dual fleet, and I'm sure you would be aware of the long saga of fighter jet purchase decisions in this country. It's been going on for multiple decades. The CF-18s are getting near the end of their useful life, and if there is a pivot away from the F-35s, or at least the first 16 that we know Canada will definitely buy, there are concerns if they move to a dual fleet system that there could be gaps from the end of the life of the CF-18 to when, say, the Gripens could be ready for use. I mean, can you assure Canada that you could deliver your jets so that there wouldn't be a capacity gap?
Of course. I mean, we commit, as I said, to start delivering aircraft to Canada from our Swedish hub or the Brazilian hub in 3 years' time. And then I'm confident that we can build up this capacity in 5 years' time, at least, for Canada. So we can commit to that, of course. We're not campaigning here today. I mean, we are answering questions, we're giving information on what it means for Canada, the business case for Canada, the capability as such, of course. And we were part of the evaluation 4 years ago. Lots has happened since then on our side with this aircraft and this system. And there's an interest in the market also, but I mean, we've taken it much further now. So we're answering questions, we're giving information, detailed information, and then it's up to Canada to decide. The important thing is, apart from jobs and capability, to decide whether you want to be more sovereign when it comes to their domain, to be part of the future generations of the next gen type of aircraft in partnership with Sweden and Saab, and also maybe unmanned capability that will complement the fighter. So it's up to Canada to decide. I don't know when this decision will be taken, but we will continue to give information as long as there are questions that are being asked.
No, and look, I certainly, many things have changed, certainly in the last 4 years. And with the agreement Canada and the European Union decide to sign to explore, deeper defense cooperation and industrial integration, and middle powers coming together, because big powers sometimes try to push you around. As we're finding out, it sort of changes things. So you say you don't know when this decision will be made, and that was going to be my last question. Like, do you have a sense, like, is this something we learn in 2026? I mean, is this months, or do you have a horizon or a broad time frame on when you would like to know?
Well, as soon as possible, of course. I mean, that makes sense for us. I mean, I think we soon have delivered all the information I think Canada needs to make this decision. But then I have full respect for that there are many sort of trade-offs to be made politically, of course. It's a great capability, but it's also, as I said, it's also something to be assessed from what it means from Canada, from a sovereignty, but also from a knowledge and competence perspective going forward. But we're soon done in giving information, so then it's up to Canada to decide. But I have full respect for the trade-offs being made. And it's not either or, I need to underline that. It's not that we're trying to push the F-35 out. That could be a collaborative aircraft with the Gripen fighter as well.
Micael Johansson, the CEO of Saab, we appreciate your time in answering our questions today, sir. Thank you for being here.
Thank you so much.